Welcome to Journey Through Eras. American history is often portrayed through a lens of triumph and progress, but beneath the surface lies a wealth of uncomfortable and controversial truths. From the violent displacement of Native Americans to systemic racial injustices that continue to shape society, these dark chapters reveal the complexities of the nation's past. In this video, we'll journey through some of the most unsettling discoveries that challenge the idealized narrative of American history. Join us as we explore the 12 most uncomfortable and controversial finds that have forever altered the course of the nation. 1. The discovery of Native American genocide. One of the darkest aspects of American history is the treatment of indigenous peoples. Starting from the first encounters with European settlers, historians and archaeologists have uncovered evidence of genocide through deliberate acts of violence, forced relocations, and the spread of diseases that decimated entire populations. The Trail of Tears, the mass extermination campaigns, and the destruction of Native American cultures are uncomfortable facts that highlight the brutality of the American expansion. The discovery and recognition of these genocidal actions remain controversial to this day, with ongoing debates about reparations and sovereignty. 2. Slavery and the foundations of the nation. Perhaps the most widely discussed yet controversial discovery is the role of slavery in the founding of the United States. The realization that the American economy was built on the backs of enslaved Africans challenges the narrative of a nation based on liberty and equality. Recent archaeological digs and historical research have uncovered the true extent of slavery's integration into the early fabric of American society. The discovery of slave quarters, auction sites, and plantation records often forces Americans to confront their nation's original sin. 3. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment. The Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male is one of the most infamous examples of medical malpractice in American history. From 1932 to 1972, African American men in Alabama were unknowingly subjected to a study that monitored the progression of syphilis without offering them treatment, even after penicillin became the standard cure. This unethical experiment was only exposed after decades, sparking outrage and damaging trust in medical institutions. It serves as a painful reminder of the exploitation of African Americans in the name of science. 4. The Salem Witch Trials. In the late 17th century, the Salem Witch Trials marked one of the darkest periods in colonial American history. Fueled by fear, superstition, and religious zealotry, 20 people, mostly women, were executed after being accused of witchcraft. Archaeological findings in Salem have uncovered evidence of the hysteria that led to these trials, and contemporary historians have linked them to the societal tensions of the time, including gender dynamics, class struggles, and religious extremism. The trials reflect the dangers of mass panic and the consequences of unchecked power. 5. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 remains one of the most controversial actions in American history. While it is often justified as a means to end World War II and save lives, many argue that the bombings were unnecessary and disproportionately affected civilians. The post-bombing findings, including the long-term effects on the survivors' health and the environmental destruction, highlight the moral ambiguity of using such devastating weapons. The ethical debates surrounding these bombings continue to spark debates about the use of nuclear warfare. 6. Japanese American internment camps. During World War II, more than 120,000 Japanese Americans were forcibly relocated to internment camps across the U.S. due to fears of espionage and sabotage after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Historical findings and personal accounts have revealed the emotional and economic toll this policy had on Japanese American families. This government-sanctioned violation of civil rights was only formally acknowledged and apologized for in 1988 when President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act, but the scars of this painful episode linger in the collective memory. 7. The forced sterilization of marginalized groups. Throughout the early 20th century, thousands of individuals, primarily from marginalized groups such as Native Americans, African Americans, and the poor, were subjected to forced sterilizations under the guise of eugenics. Archaeological findings, along with testimonies from survivors, shed light on how sterilization programs were justified as a means of improving the population. These discoveries bring to the forefront issues of race, class, and the state's power over the bodies of its citizens. 8. The existence of the KKK and racial terrorism. The Ku Klux Klan, KKK, emerged as a violent force in the post-Civil War South, seeking to undermine the rights of Black Americans and maintain white supremacy through terror and intimidation. The discovery of lynching sites, cross burnings, and other remnants of Klan activities continue to shock the nation. The Klan's legacy of racial violence is deeply embedded in American history, and its activities persisted well into the 20th century, leaving a legacy of fear and discrimination that continues to affect race relations today. 9. The CIA's mind control experiments, MKUltra. The CIA's MKUltra program, which ran from the 1950s to the 1970s, involved mind control experiments on unwitting subjects using drugs, hypnosis, and other techniques. This dark chapter was uncovered in the 1970s through Senate hearings, revealing that the government had experimented on both civilians and military personnel. These findings shocked the public and prompted debates over the limits of governmental power, ethics in research, and the trustworthiness of intelligence agencies. 10. The plight of the Black Wall Street Massacre. In 1921, a prosperous African-American community known as Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was destroyed by a white mob in one of the most devastating racially motivated massacres in U.S. history. The discovery of mass graves and the uncovering of long-hidden documents in recent years have reignited the painful conversation about racial violence, systemic oppression, and reparations. Despite being virtually erased from mainstream history, the massacre has come to represent the destructive power of racial resentment. 11. The Wounded Knee Massacre. The Wounded Knee Massacre of 1890, in which U.S. troops killed over 150 Lakota Sioux men, women, and children, stands as one of the most tragic events in the history of Native American relations. Archaeological findings at the site have provided evidence of the scale of violence inflicted on the Native population. The massacre, though long seen as the end of the Indian Wars, remains a stark reminder of the brutal treatment of Native Americans and their struggle for survival in the face of government aggression. 12. The discovery of Jim Crow's legacy in modern America. Although the Jim Crow laws officially ended with the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s, their legacy still lingers in modern American society. Discoveries in the form of discriminatory housing policies, segregated education, and racial profiling reveal how the vestiges of segregation continue to shape the socioeconomic landscape. The continued existence of racial inequalities is a painful reminder that the civil rights victories of the 20th century have not fully eradicated the deep-rooted systemic racism in America. History is not just about celebrating achievements, it's also about confronting uncomfortable truths and learning from them. The discoveries we've explored today serve as reminders of the complexities of America's past and the ongoing work needed to ensure justice and equality. To continue uncovering the stories that shape our world, subscribe to Journey Through Eras, where we dive deep into the hidden truths and forgotten chapters of history. Like, comment, and share your thoughts as we continue our journey through time together.